Hey guys, it's Karen, my review for the second week of Celebrity Big Brother 2, episodes 5 through 6. And like I already alluded to, I was not the biggest fan of the first week of this season. It just had too much going on. There were way too many twists. A lot of the house guests I didn't really get the sense that they wanted to be there. However, I was hoping that this would be the week that things would be set in motion, that things would be really great. I also knew that this was going to be the first, Monday eviction where there wasn't a quit, thank God. So I was hoping that things would be really good, and while I was right about there not being a quit, this was still not a very exciting week. Now, I will say, I do think it was a little bit better than last week, mainly because there weren't all these twists and things like that precluding the game, but in terms of stuff to talk about, there definitely was a lot going on, but I still am not feeling that same sense of drive and momentum that I did from last season, but let's just get into it right now. So, the first thing I think I really want to talk about is, in fact, Dina, who I said last week, I forgot Dina was on this show. They really were not doing a lot with her. Thankfully, this week, I actually think they did a much better job of including pretty much everyone. The only people that really do not play a major role this week are, like, Kandi and Ricky. Everyone else really had a lot going on. A big part of that contributed to Dina. Dina actually did have a lot to do here, especially when it came to her and Kato, because, as we know, Dina was the only person that did not vote Jonathan out. She actually voted for Kandi to leave, and we realize why. This is not because of her, being on Jonathan's side. It had nothing to do with that. It's that Kato did not do a good enough job of explaining to her exactly what was going on. He basically just told her to just go with your gut. He didn't tell her that everyone else was going to be voting for Jonathan, so she really does feel betrayed. She understandably feels like she's been thrown under the bus, and you see that while she thought her and Kato had a deal, she's actually going off to Joey and Ryan and wants to possibly make a deal with them. And I like the way she handled this. Obviously she does not feel comfortable with Kato. She doesn't want to talk to him because she doesn't really feel like he'd be someone that would stick out his neck for her. She feels more like he is now, she's now on his radar, and that she never really was on his side. So I like that she's going over to Ryan and Joey. These are two people who are a bit alone in the house. They really only have each other. And Joey, as we know, not really playing the game at all. Still, this week, he's not really playing the game. I mean, he's doing a little bit better, but he still does not really know what he's doing. Ryan is starting to get a better grasp of the ins and outs of the game, but I thought it made a lot of sense for Dina to try to ally with them. I like that we saw more of her. As far as Kato goes, we'll get to him in a little bit, but I did like the way that this was set up. And then the way Natalie handled it as well, I also thought was really well done. Because Natalie and Lolo, they suspect that Dina is not on their side, and they just kind of want to talk it out with her. But Dina is being very dismissive. She's not really answering them. She's not really giving, she's not really saying much to them. So they know for a fact that Dina is not on their side. And I think they actually played this quite well. I'm interested in seeing how things are going to go, but things are not looking the best for Dina. Again, I just like that I got to see more of where her head is at. I know the editors, a lot of the time, they have since there's so many cast members, they have a hard time doing that. When it's a cast like this, though, it's really not hard to focus on pretty much everyone, and I thought they actually did a good job with showing where Dina's head was at, and us seeing a little bit more of Dina. It feels like she's starting to, think about things more strategically, and I'm liking what I'm seeing of her, although, like I said, I don't think she's going to last very long in this game. However, most of the drama that we have going on this week is because of Kato. Now, Kato, as we know, he's working with Tom, and after this week, I do not think Tom could have picked a better person to ally with, because Kato is terrible at this game. I mean, I thought Jonathan and Ryan were really bad last week. That is nothing compared to Kato. Holy shit, has Kato ruined his game. I mean, if Kato does not leave the Big Brother house soon, I will be very surprised, because I think he very much tarnished his game this week. I mean, right off the bat, we have this HOH comp, and I already talked about the whole thing he did with Dina, which that's definitely going to come back and bite him in the ass for sure. But he does end up winning the HOH comp, which, you know, I was interested in seeing what he was really going to do, but it also looks good for Tom because Tom is really the one driving a lot of his actions. Tom is really the one controlling a lot of things. Kato, on the other hand, literally has no idea what he's doing, and I think he really did sabotage a lot of his game here, especially when it comes to who his target is, because you would think because of what he did with Dina, that Dina would be his target, or because the problems that Tamar is, you know, Tamar is doing, maybe she'd be his target, which we'll get to Tamar a little bit, but no. He sets his target on Ryan. He makes it very clear that he wants Ryan out, and I think he played this completely the wrong way. Ryan was actually willing to possibly strike up a deal with Kato and see if he could do something, and I've said this so many times before, but when you're HOH, even if you're not interested, you want to try to take that deal. You want to try to make everyone feel like they're comfortable, so then when they are in fact backdoored, they do not take it personally. They don't take it in a way, you know, they understand why you have to do it. But when you just completely ignore them, they already know, oh, he's, you know, on my radar. They have a much bigger drive to win that veto, and then your target is gone. So I think Kato should have handled this, regardless if he wanted to work with her or not. He should have said, yes, I do want to work with you. Maybe we can work something out. Even if it wasn't going to last, at least he had that. And then you have Joey in your back pocket because, you know, Joey doesn't have any suspicions that Kato could be coming after them. You have Dina back on your side. This could have worked out perfectly for Kato, but he just didn't want to do that. He picked completely the wrong target here when his target should have absolutely been Tamar. Tamar absolutely should have been the one he goes after, solely because of all the drama she causes this week. I mean, there's so much going on with Tamar this week, which there really is no other way to continue talking about Kato's horrible gameplay without getting into Tamar, who, I have to say, again, I like Tamar's diary rooms. I think she's a lot of fun, but as a player, I cannot stand her. I think she is just so overdramatic. I know that she was on a reality show, but just the way that she reacted to that HOH was absolutely ridiculous. She acted like she was, like, just having all these anxiety attacks, and I don't know if she has something personally, like if she just has really bad anxiety, but I don't know, it just seemed really fake to me. It seemed like she was really overdramatic, and I'm honestly over it. The whole thing with her in the HOH I thought was absolutely ridiculous. And then, of course, comes the whole thing between her and Lolo, who, both of these two, I think are really putting themselves in a bad spot. And again, similar to Tom, I really can't think of anyone better for Natalie to work with because of the way Lolo plays things this week. Because Lolo and Natalie, they're controlling a lot of things at this point. They are very much set on getting, getting Ryan out. They really are trying to figure out where Kato's head is at, and they're doing a good job with that. It's what happens after that, because Lolo, she's just mad at Tamar. She's so pissed that Tamar is continually asking them, what's going on. She's checking up on them. She clearly does not trust them, which, I mean, when you're scampering around like that, how could anyone trust you? I'm not necessarily defending Tamar. I'm just saying that, like, I don't really know what Lolo's whole problem was here, but she just goes off on Tamar. She completely loses it. These two almost get into a whole physical fight, and it gets so bad to the point where Tamar actually thinks about quitting the game, just, like, up and leaving right then and there. And look, I get it that Lolo clearly has really bad anger issues. She even says in the episode that she has stuff she needs to work on, but you gotta try to be composed, especially when you're against someone like Tamar, who clearly has a whole time holding back her anger as well. I think you just need to be a little more composed, and I think that's something that Lolo needs to work on. And again, I think both of them, they're just really not setting themselves up in a good way. Nobody's really going to want to work with these two now, and just the way that whole thing played out, it was just disastrous to see. I mean, it was absolutely insane. It was so bad that I think the live feeds were down for like 9 hours because of it. I mean, it got really bad, and things really did get ugly between the two of them. Thankfully, Tamar doesn't end up leaving, but just considering how things played out, again, Two things here. One, I think Lolo has really put herself in a bad position because now people aren't going to want to work with her because they don't know if Lolo's going to be able to remain composed. Two, Natalie's never looked better. I mean, sure, Natalie, eventually, I think this is going to hurt her. This could be like an Ariadne situation where, like, she's guilty by association. But for now, I think she's actually looking really good because she's been very calm about a lot of these things, and she hasn't really been, she hasn't really been, in on any of what's been going on. She hasn't really been a part of any of these, fights that Lolo's been engaging in. So I think she's actually looking really good, and I think Lolo, on the other hand, is probably going to end up leaving, like, really soon, because I would not be surprised if people really start to question her loyalties after this. Then, of course, we get to the nomination ceremony, and this is when things really look bad for Kato. Obviously, I went to Tamar for a second because that's when we get to Kato's reasoning why he nominates Tamar and Dina, because he does decide to nominate them, are completely wrong. He does not do it from a game perspective, and that's what you should do. When you're nominating people, it should be from a game perspective. You should make it clear that it's not personal. Kato could not have done anything worse here. He could not have played this more wrong. He literally says to Tamar that the reason that he wants her gone is because she isn't cleaning things up right, and he wants her to go home so she can be with her son. And Kato claims that, like, he was trying to do this in, like, a funny way and add some humor in there, but the way it came off, it seemed like that's the reason why he wanted her to leave, and it was completely unsympathetic. As much as, like I said, I think Tamar is very overdramatic, I can totally understand where she's coming from here. I mean, that's just something you don't bring into the game. That's something that should not be a part of anything. I've never understood why that has to be a major part of the game. I know sometimes, like in regular Big Brother, house guests will be like, oh, on my son's words or anything like that, like they'll pray on their son or they'll pray on their significant other, or they'll swear upon their significant other. Like, I know that happens a lot, but in this case, Kato's reasoning, that's all it seemed to be. Like, he didn't really seem like he had another reason why he wanted her to leave. And that really has, I think, ruined his entire game, because Kato easily could have fixed all of this by simply saying to Tamar that I don't want you to leave. I want you to win that veto. But he doesn't say that. He makes it seem like he doesn't really have any other plan. Even though we knew that he had another plan, he didn't really communicate to her that to her very well, because she still believes, even when he's trying to tell her that he has another plan, she still is convinced that he's going after her. So he really did not do a good job of explaining this to her very well. I think this very much did ruin his game, especially considering what he chooses to do next, because there's this conversation in the backyard between Kato, Tom, Lolo, and Natalie, and they're all talking about who has the potential of possibly winning this entire season, and essentially they're trying to get Kato to find reasons to go after Ryan, and I think I know what they were trying to do here, because a lot of people are like, oh, why would Lolo target Ryan? Why would Natalie want to go after him? Because they don't want to be the ones to do it. They want Kato to essentially take the bait for this. They want Kato to be the one to put himself in a bad position here, and they want to see how easily influenced he is, because I think Kato is very easily influenced by Tom and Natalie and Lolo. To be honest, I don't think he really had a plan for this week. I think he set his sights on Ryan because he's an easy target, and honestly, he shouldn't be. Ryan has won one competition, and you cannot blame Ryan for any of the, a large abundance of nominations last week. Like, sure, it was ridiculous how many people had to nominate. Had nominated over half the house, but that's not at all Ryan's fault. It's because of the twist that was implemented. That's not at all his fault. That was something that he had to deal with, and I really don't understand what they were trying to do, and I can't really think of any other reason why they wanted to go after him than it was an easy target, and this could easily get Kato, this could easily make Kato a huge target coming into the next week. I could definitely see something like that happening. But basically what ends up happening here is Ryan actually ends up listening in to this entire thing. He hears basically everything they've been saying, and immediately this makes him go into overdrive. He's freaking out that he might have to pack his bags, and I like the way he phrased it to Kato. Like, he wasn't trying to interrogate him. He just said, hey, am I going to have to leave here? Do you want me to have to go? And Joey's, like, not sure either. So both of them are really not comfortable at all. They really are set on winning that veto. Unfortunately, though, they're not chosen for the veto. Tom, however, is chosen for the veto. He ends up winning the veto, and basically Operation Backdoor Ryan is put into play. Ryan is put on the block, and he is, in fact, voted out. And that's really what ends up happening there. And again, I don't think that this was the right move at all. I think Kato absolutely should have taken this deal. The way things went here, I mean, Ryan just, it did not really seem like he was someone that would have come after him. I think if Kato had just taken that deal with him, and he would have set his sights on someone like Dina or Tamar, even if he doesn't really want to work with Ryan, just to keep up that deal, just so that way he has someone in his back pocket again, so he can further himself closer to the end, and he would have gotten someone out like Dina or Tamar. I think this could have gone a lot better for him. I think this would have played out in a much better way, and the fact that he didn't do that, I think really did ruin his game overall here. I will say, though, going back to Ryan, Julie's interview, I thought was a little bit too intrusive at points. Like, her asking him about Lolo and if this is going to damage things between them. I don't really understand why she needed to ask that. Like, I know Julie, you know, she likes to ask them a lot of questions, but I don't think that's something that needs to be asked. This is a game. It's clear that Ryan isn't really someone who lets that get in his way. He's not someone who tries to let things that happen in a game, you know, get in the way of how he thinks about someone personally. Him and Lolo are friends. Him and Lolo are going to be in the Olympics together next year, obviously on different things, but they are going to see each other in the Olympics, and that's not going to change. They are still Team USA. Even though Lolo did come after him again, it was for game reasons. It was because of the fact that they needed to get Ryan out, because again, that's what really got Kato in a bad position. And I think Kato, like I said, heading into this next week, is in a very bad spot, and I don't know how well things are going to go for him. The only other person that I think could end up leaving is, in fact, Lolo or Tamar. I think one of them, they're probably going to leave in the next eviction. I think that's definitely going to happen for sure. I don't think it's going to be Kato. I think Kato's going to be around for a little bit longer, but I don't think much longer. I think the next Monday eviction, it's probably going to be Kato. I don't really see things going well for him at all. And then I think the next eviction that's going to play out, I think it's going to be either Lolo or Tamar. I'm not going to tell you who won the HOH or anything like that, but I think they are probably the ones that are going to end up leaving, getting evicted next. We'll have to see the way things did play out there. Also, Julie did say something about a new twist coming into play, which this whole sort of thing with the power of the publicity, I don't think that's going to affect the game that much. If anything, I think it's going to protect Joey. I think Joey is probably the person that's going to win this moving forward. I think most likely they're going to give it to Joey because he's the underdog, and I know how the fans work. They want to root for the underdog, and I think Joey's probably going to end up getting this power of publicity thing, which what it ends up doing is if you are on the block, you can, if you're nominated, you can, take yourself off or something like that. I didn't really understand it, but again, I think this is probably going to help Joey. I don't think it's going to affect the nominations all that much. Like I said, I think either way, Tamar or Lolo, they're the next person out of this game, and I'll be very surprised if it's really anyone else. But again, I want to reiterate that this was completely preventable. What happened to Kato, the position he's in now, this all could have been better if he would have just talked to people, if he would have just clarified things better, if he would have just taken deals, things could have gone a lot better. If he did not come off from, attacking people for personal reasons, the one thing you should never do as an HOH, you should always try to do it from a game perspective, and the fact that he did it, that's really what's killed his game. That's really, again, maybe his game isn't ruined, but if his game is ruined like I think it is, that's really what killed it. That's really what's going to send him out the door, I think, very soon. And I'm very interested in seeing how things do play out there. As far as people like Joey go, Joey's someone I'm very interested in seeing where he ends up heading into the next week. Because now he's alone. Ryan, of course, has left. Jonathan's left. He's a lone wolf at this point. So I think Joey needs to strike up something. Work with someone like, say, Kandi or Ricky or even Dina, maybe work with Dina. Like, Dina clearly wanted to start something with, Joey and Ryan, but they just never really went anywhere with it. Maybe link up with Dina. Maybe something can work out there. We'll have to see the way things do end up playing out. I'm interested in seeing, where all of that ends up going. Either way, though, like I said, not a bad week, just one with a really terrible HOH. Like, Kato just really had no idea what he was doing here. To me, it seemed like the only reason he went after Ryan is because, again, Natalie, Lolo, and Tom, they had a very convincing argument, and I really do want to applaud them because they really are the heads of the snake. They're the one who convinced Kato to go after Ryan when I don't really think they wanted Ryan gone. I think definitely they had reasons for him to leave, but I don't think they wanted to be the one to do it, and it's made both Natalie and Tom especially look really good. I think they're definitely going to go very far, and I'm excited to see where that ends up going. And again, I'm just happy to talk about a Monday eviction that wasn't a quit. It was an actual eviction, and thank God, honestly, because the Monday eviction, it was cursed for a while, but thankfully it's not anymore. But that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys thought of this week overall. Left your thoughts in it. What did you think of Kato's HOH? Do you think he is in as much danger as I think he is? Tamar and Lolo, are they in as much danger as I think? What do you think about Dina? Things like that. Just let me know anything that you want to know about this week. But that's it for this video. We'll see you guys in my next video. Also, I know that the next eviction is until Saturday, which is very strange overall. This schedule is kind of all over the place. I know Super Bowl Sunday is a thing, but why couldn't they have had an eviction Friday? I don't really understand that. But that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoy it. We'll see you guys in my next video, and we'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.